Before I start cracking on and building anything, I always like to start off with a nice cup of tea. And something in my beard, apparently. But this wasn't going to be a normal day. No, lessons were here to be learnt. But this wasn't going to be any normal day. No, big thing I was learning on this day was you can't always trust 3D printing. But Rig, I hear you say, we're not just here for the 3D printing and the... Oh dear, what the bloody hell's going on there? Yeah, I might have tried to print something too big on a very small plate. This wasn't the worst one. I had another one after this, which is just crumbling to pieces. So I had to go back to Billy Basics and just try and make what I was trying to portray. Now, I know a lot of you here for the lore, and we are going to be getting into that. I am going to be looking at the Dark Angels Interrogator Chaplain because I stumbled across this in the lore. And I thought, oh baby, that is cool. I like where this is going. So we're going to do a little bit about the build, and then we're going to go into the lore as always. And yeah, I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's find out how I resolved the build issue, and let's learn a little bit about the Dark Angels. Oh, could have been simple. Could have been simple. Could have been simple. Why is this hobby never simple? So, in order to simplify life, I thought, well, how do people actually build buildings? Well, with bricks. So, I got out my foam cutter and I made some bricks. Lots and lots and lots of bricks. And a mess. So, once I had got all my bricks together, I then needed to find a way to make them look like they're a bit roughed up, not brand new, and sort of been there for a while. So I threw them in this Amazon pack. You can throw them in a Tupperware box, whatever. Found something nice and heavy and oddly shaped, and then just shook it all up together. So it roughed up a lot of the corners and left me with none of these smooth faces, which I was trying to eliminate. And then I knew at this point I'd be able to get on with the build and use some modeling putty as, I guess you could say, cement, and just actually build the building or build the wall. So to start off the lore side of this video and to really sort of get a grasp of what is happening within this diorama and within this build, I think it's good to sort of have a good overview of the chapter as a whole and then focus in on our interrogator chaplains. Now, what we need to remember is that the interrogator chaplains of the Dark Angels are the absolute embodiment of the chapter's unyielding will and determination. They will stop at nothing to protect the Imperium and root out those who would betray it. For the interrogator chaplains of the Dark Angels, the truth is their weapon and they will wield it without mercy. So for a quick overview of the Dark Angels as a chapter in whole, they are a very complex chapter, I suppose is the easiest way to put it. They are very secretive in nature. They are the original Space Marine Legion, originally known as the Angels of Death. They engaged the Thunder Warriors on Mount Ararat alongside the Custodians to replace the Thunder Warriors effectively and to be the Emperor's new toy, new shiny thing on the block. However, during the Horus Heresy, which was a catastrophic, which word do I'm going to say catastrophic because I can say that one. It was a civil war. It wasn't that great. And it engulfed the entire Imperium and kind of put a stop to the Great Crusade. So at this point, the Dark Angels were split into two. Obviously one faction remaining loyal to the Emperor and Lionel Johnson, and the other turned traitor and joined the War Master Horus and Luther, who was Lionel, the Primarch Lionel Johnson's adopted father, who couldn't quite make the full transition to Space Marine and that seemed to resonate a lot of jealousy within him, which caused this split. The loyalist Dark Angels were instrumental in defending against the traitors and ending the heresy. They were one of the largest legions at the time, and unfortunately, because of their split with the one part of their legion turning traitor, also known as the Fallen, how I will refer to them in the future. The loyalist part of the Dark Angels have been haunted with this knowledge ever since, and the chapter is obsessed with hunting down the remaining traitors and expunging them of their shame, of their betrayal. Now, this is where the Interrogation Chaplains obviously play a massive role. And they come in as they are part of the inner circle. So not everyone within the Legion, not every Space Marine within the Legion knows about the betrayal in the modern Imperium. And also is why this Legion uses the largest amount of servitors. They don't use civs or servs to help them on their day-to-day. They don't trust humans, so they lobotomize pretty much everyone that comes to help them and turn them into servitors, because, well, you can trust them. They ain't going to go talking if you remove their means to. So to maintain their web of secrets and knowledge of the Fallen, anyone that is a company captain or above, or anyone from the first company of the Dark Angels, are the ones that know about the Fallen, and they are in the inner circle of knowledge. The rest of the chapter, they just know that when they're off on their clandestine operations, that through their rigorous training, discipline, and their use of unconventional tactics and specialized equipment, they will be dealing with a lot of traitors and traitor marines, because that's where they are really trying to finesse their skills into. But despite their secretive nature and troubled history, the Dark Angels do remain one of the most formidable and respected Space Marine chapters in the Imperium, and they are widely feared by their enemies. Now, for this next part, just sort of bear with me a little bit, because I can barely read my own handwriting here. So a lot of this is going to be memory based. So the main reason for the Dark Angels splitting into two factions, effectively, half of it staying loyalist and then another part of it becoming the Fallen, was because during the heresy, I believe the Primarch Lionel Johnson told 500 of his Dark Angel Marines and Luther to return to Caliban, their home planet, to basically defend the planet again, because there was actually a greater demon within the planet itself, because Caliban was very much a forested planet and was just covered in chaos tainted monsters, effectively, but they were keeping at bay this bigger monster, which was a greater demon. And Lionel Johnson has sent these Marines back with Luther and didn't quite tell them why. I think they believed that they were then left out, sort of shunned for no reason, and I believe that is to do with their fall, or their original fall to chaos, and then they took a few friends with them when they decided to fall completely to chaos. But that's my understanding of it. If I am wrong, correct me in the comments below. I am happy to admit that I was wrong about anything, and my handwriting was shocking when I was jotting this bit down. And before I forget, the last little detail that you need to know about is that within the planet of Caliban, there is a species, I guess you could say, called the Watchers. They are these little robed dudes that I was just painting up, one of them. They're like little Jawas. I don't think they talk, but they serve the Dark Angels in the same way that a servitor would sort of serve them. So I think that's enough information now for the diorama to make sense at the end, and enough information for what I'm about to tell you about the Interrogator Chaplains to now make a bit more sense, instead of me just throwing you into the deep end, assuming that you know all this information. So let's get on and talk about the Interrogator Chaplains. So these chaplains are, as I have probably stated before, are amongst the most feared and respected group of individuals within the chapter and its successor chapters. Their main role is to extract information and confessions from those who betrayed the chapter and the emperor during the Horus heresy. These individuals, also known as Fallen or the Fallen Angels, their capture and interrogation are of utmost importance to the Dark Angels. To become an interrogator chaplain, a Space Marine must first pass the test of faith and take the solemn vow of the Death Wing. So that's the first company of the Dark Angels. They must also learn the dark secrets of the chapter and its histories and be inducted into the inner circle during a ceremony held in the Hall of Secrets on the Rock, which is what is left of Caliban in the present day of the Imperium, is now known as the Rock. Once they've completed this rigorous training, they become silent and intense figures, always on the lookout for signs of heresy or weakness. Interrogator chaplains are skilled in the art of interrogation, clearly, torture and psychological manipulation, and are as proficient as a member of the Inquisition Audio Hereticus. They use these skills to extract information and confessions from the fallen, and they are allowed to add a black pearl to their rosary for each fallen who repents. Now, these black pearls are a very significant part of the Interrogator Chaplains, and I will talk more on them later, but just hold them in your mind for now. So continuing, those who refuse to repent are subject to even more drastic measures, leading to their inevitable death in agony. As members of the Inner Circle, Interrogator Chaplains have access to many of the chapter's secrets and are tasked with ensuring that the Fallen's treachery is uncovered and punished. Such is the will and want to remove this stain on the chapter of the heresy that happened from the Fallen. The Interrogator Chaplains on the battlefield against Chaos Space Marines traitor Astartes, they will remove their gene seed using the same tool that an apothecary would use to take the gene seed of their own battle brothers. The fickle nature of alliances amongst the droves and hordes and swaves and all of that of chaos means that the Fallen could have gone with any warband or army or member of the Blighted even. Removing the gene seed from any and all traitor marines means that it can be taken back to the Rock and then tested to see whether it is one of the Fallen's, and if so, another name can be struck from the book of traitors, a roster that is held on Caliban, or what used to be Caliban, which holds the names of all the Fallen. Capturing a traitor Astartes is the easy part. Taking one hostage, taking one alive is the easy part. Now, to any other Marine, this would be the hardest part to do, because I'm pretty certain they don't want to go easily, and they certainly aren't going to be going quietly. Getting to the point where you can get a traitor Marine to not only admit to being a Fallen, but to then repent his sin is one of the most difficult things that can be done. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Black Pearls, and achieving one of these as a symbol of honor and achievement for an Interrogator Chaplain is just one of the highest things you can do. These pearls are earned by convincing the Fallen, traitor Astartes, who have betrayed not only the Dark Angels but the Emperor himself, to repent for their sins. The Fallen are just that much of a source of shame and dishonor, and convincing them to repent is seen as a way to restore the chapter's honor. Each black pearl represents one Fallen who has been convinced to repent, and the chaplains are highly motivated to earn as many pearls as possible. However, earning them is extremely difficult, and most Interrogator Chaplains die with only a handful to their name. Only one, Master, and I'm going to butcher this name, I will put it up on screen, Master Molochia, no, let's not do that. He was the most successful chaplain in the chapter's history, and he earned 10 pearls over 300 Terran years. That's, yeah, let that sink in for a moment of how difficult it must be that he is the master with only 10. The pearls themselves are extremely hard to get a hold of anyway. They come from the planet Malmar, a dangerous death world on the edge of the Eye of Terror. The chaplains must travel to Malmar upon raising to the rank of interrogator, and what they must do is retrieve one of these treasures to be stored within the rock. The journey to Malmar is perilous, and even reaching the planet is a significant achievement. Once there, they must face their own temptations, as well as the fierce predators that inhabit this world's oceans. If, and only if, they manage to get themselves a pearl and bring it back to the rock to be stored for that moment of achievement where they can add it to their rosary. Their success in getting a fallen to repent doesn't mean he can rejoin the chapter and go about his daily life again. No, this is more of a mere thank you for accepting your sin. Continue via the Emperor's peace. And if you still don't get what I'm putting down, here's a man that said it best.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So for this diorama, I really wanted to show you the spirit in which these interrogator chaplains work. He has the Watcher next to him with the Book of Traitors that I'm writing out, as you can see here. You have the traitor marine stripped of his armor and bound behind his back as this chaplain goes to town interrogating him via psychic manipulation, fierce beating, and things so unimaginable I have no way to describe them to you now. But such is the way in which chaos works, and as a bit of a prelude to what I'm going to be building next and what we will be going into next, another chaplain appears to be entering from the door behind. But is it a chaplain, or is he Alfarius? Well then guys, thank you for joining me on yet another hobby adventure. Please remember, if you've enjoyed this, to leave a like, a comment, and hopefully I've earned a subscribe from you. Next video, we're going to be going into the Alpha Legion and looking at their treachery. Are they truly traitors? We'll have a look at that next time. For now guys, enjoy the diorama, and I'll catch you in the next one.